Hey, and welcome to post Super Bowl on and off the field. Super Bowl 54 is over. The 2019-2020 season in the NFL 100 season is over. And we are here to celebrate the Kansas City Chiefs winning that Super Bowl with the one, the only, Fred Peterson.
Woo!
Hi, Fred.
Yeah. Hi, Dylan. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're going to be having you a lot more often.
Yeah.
Because we are financially and time-wise putting all of our eggs in the basket to have Fred Peterson as the co-host of On and Off the Field.
Oh, yeah.
So exciting.
I'm really excited for it.
I'm super excited because now I don't have to talk to myself for an hour. It's a lot harder to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also gonna have to learn how to, not talk as much and get your opinion on things and not talk all the time. It's gonna be a tough transition, but I know we can get there.
Oh, I'm sure we can.
So welcome to On and Off the Field with Fred and Dylan. We got to come up with like a DJ name. Last night I thought of Dread, like D for Dylan, Dread. But then Caitlin was like, my wife was like, dread, like people dread listening to things or dread doing something. It's like that's a good point. So we might have to think of something else or just nothing at all.
All right, we'll figure it out.
We'll see how that goes. But Dylan and Fred on and off the field, get it all out of the way right now. Facebook and Instagram. Go follow On and Off the Field on Facebook and Instagram so you know when episodes drop and you get to look at all the great memes I drop, and NFL news is on there. It's all kinds of great stuff. So go do that. And then you can also know when the giveaway is going to happen because we're about 20 listens short still of 500 before we can start the giveaway. So make sure you go to all the podcasting platforms like Anchor and iTunes and Spotify and all that good jazz and subscribe. So then you know when new episodes drop and you can listen to it to get us to 500 so we can do the giveaway. And now you can also listen on, I believe it's Thursdays from 4 to 5 is On and Off the Field on the RTF Sports Network on Spreaker. Yeah, that's right. We're on like a sports network thing. It's like super awesome. So you go do that. You got to subscribe. You got to listen. We got to do the giveaway. It's all great stuff, but we have a Super Bowl to cover, Fred.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs win 31-20. First thoughts.
About 3/4 of the game, I'm like, you know what? The 49ers are going to pull it off. They're going to have the defense, and they're going to do just enough on offense, and they're going to pull it off. And then as soon as we get about to that 10-minute mark in that fourth quarter, is when the Chiefs start clicking, and I'm like, oh, there we go, it's over. I'm like, the Chiefs are actually going to get it this time, and I mean, honestly, I'm just excited for the Chiefs to win just for Andy Reid.
That's pretty much my exact same thoughts. I mean, I went through a roller coaster of emotions because at first I picked the 49ers to win because, they can jump out to a lead because the Chiefs always start slow. And then if they jump out to that lead, their defense is good enough to hold them in the second half to maybe pull out that win and withstand the second half thrashing that the Chiefs usually give out. But they go into halftime at 10-10, and now I'm thinking, like, now the Chiefs are going to make halftime adjustments, and they're going to get throttled in the second half, which wasn't true. They come out at halftime. The 49ers go up 20-10 after Patrick Mahomes throws a second interception, and now I was with you. 20-10, Patrick Mahomes is not looking like Patrick Mahomes, and I'm thinking, well, maybe the moment's too big for Patrick, and the 49ers are going to pull this off, but I think the question has to be asked, who do you blame more for the loss, Jimmy Garoppolo or Kyle Shanahan?
I think it's 100% on Jimmy G.
100%.
Yeah, you could see the plays Kyle Shanahan was dialing up, and you would think he would be thinking, all right, this happened to me before. Like, I need to not do it this time. Like, we can't blow this lead. And I think he tried to get more points, and Jimmy G let him down.
I can see the rationale, and that's what half of the nation is probably is leaning on. Half of the people are saying it's Shanahan's fault for only running the ball 10 times in the second half, and they only averaged 51 seconds per possession in the fourth quarter. When they have the lead, they only averaged 51 seconds of possession. The Chiefs had the ball for 9 minutes in the fourth quarter. And the other people are saying it's Jimmy G's fault because he didn't make the plays. I mean, straight up, you can just say Jimmy G, he missed Emmanuel Sanders deep for that touchdown. If he hits Emmanuel Sanders, if he hits that play, it's a completely different narrative today. Everything that people talk about today is just 180'd. We're talking about how the completeness of the 49ers team won and not Patrick Mahomes.
Was it 2010 or 2017 when Jimmy G overthrew Samuel for that?
Oh, boy.
Because I'm just trying to think. If it was 2017 and they get the touchdown, puts them up 10. So now Andy Reid's got to play a 2-possession game in order to get points back. But if it's 2010 and they go up 17, now that's a three-score game. Now your 49ers defense can play a more aggressive because they clearly played soft in the second half because they were just trying to keep the lead. And there you can see they were playing everyone in front of them, which didn't work out to Richard Sherman's benefit. But it was definitely let's try to stop there. But I think if I can't remember if it was 2010 or not. If they were to go up 27-10, I feel like it would have been game over for the Chiefs.
That play, from what I can see, actually happened when they were down 24-20.
Oh, okay.
Unless I'm looking at the wrong play sheet.
No, you're probably right.
That play happened late in the fourth quarter, and they were down 24-20. So he hits that. It's now 27-24. They take the lead back, momentum shift.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs still get the ball back, but, man, it's just a completely different game, I think, because then they turn it over on downs. They get the shorter field, and then Damian Williams seals the game, 40-some-odd yard rushing touchdown, 38-yard rushing touchdown to seal it.
Yep.
Even if the Chiefs still go down and score and take the lead again, but at least Jimmy G would have given his team another lead, another chance, given that defense another chance to win the game. He failed, and I completely understand that narrative.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so. If it's a 24-10 Chiefs lead and 49ers miss that throw, if they make that throw, puts them up 27-24, Chiefs makes it 31-27. Like you said, like it's still within reason that Kyle Shanahan could dial something up if Jimmy G hits it correctly, and they could have taken it. Would have been a much closer game. I think you would have not had like I don't know. It almost seemed like a disappointing ending to me because it wasn't like it was down to the wire, but not down to like the absolute wire.
Yeah, you felt like after he missed Emmanuel Sanders and then he just takes that sack on 4th and 10, you just felt like there was absolutely zero momentum with the 49ers because the Chiefs just took the lead, and then their offense goes out there and just absolutely lays an egg on that offensive possession. And then the Chiefs 2 plays later take a larger lead. It was almost unnecessary to watch that last drive by the 49ers.
Right.
Jimmy G goes out there, he throws one pass incomplete and then intercepted deep. And it was a hard ending to watch. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of down to the wire, but deep down inside, you knew this was the Chiefs, and the
Yep.
comeback was complete. Like you felt
Oh
it.
yeah. Yep. Yeah, and I mean, it even just feels good for the Chiefs though. Like that's what was it, the NFL record for 3 straight postseason games with a comeback of 10 or more points.
Absolutely, absolutely
Like
insane.
it's
Yeah.
nuts. Like I always remember from like the mid 2000 Bills when probably it was '08 with Trent Edwards, and even when they had Kyle Orton in early 2010, I think. It was always like fourth quarter comebacks, and I was like, how long can you sustain that? But clearly, the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid dial and calling plays, it's not an issue. Like I think you have a new era here with Patrick Mahomes, and it really sucks for all the other teams that are in the AFC West.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? That's gonna be, it's wild card or bust in that division here on out.
Mm-hmm.
I just think, I think it's fair, in my opinion. You can blame both Jimmy G and Kyle Shanahan.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
that is it's a 50-50 deal because, part one is Kyle Shanahan only ran the ball 10 times in
Mm-hmm.
the second half. And if you want
Yep.
to go back even further, what in God's green earth are you doing? You get the ball back with about a minute left. I understand the Chiefs punted the ball back
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Kyle Shanahan did not call a timeout, and I understand it because if the ball gets pinned, inside the 5-yard line based off the field position, now you'd call a timeout, and the Chiefs are, if you don't get out of that scenario inside your own 5-yard line at the end of the half, you might end up punting back to the Chiefs, and they could take the lead at the end of the half. But so I
Right.
understand that. But ball goes into the end zone, it's a touchback. Now you have just under a minute to go down the field with all 3 timeouts
Mm-hmm.
at the 20-yard line with a minute left to go take the lead before the half. He runs the ball twice before taking a timeout. Now you're down to like 27 seconds, I think it was, before
Yep.
you throw your first pass. Okay, you throw the pass 20-yard gain, then you call a timeout. Okay, now you're going deep to Kittle, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
pass interference, which,
Yep.
what? I'm not going to debate what's pass interference and
Right.
what's not because nobody knows. I think it was pass interference. That's a pretty clear push off, in my opinion,
Oh
but
yeah.
they
And
didn't
that
call Kyle Rudolph for that.
Right, and that's the first thing that I thought of when I saw it too. I was like, okay, so you're gonna call this, but you're not gonna call. So we screwed the Saints over again. But moving forward,
Right. Yeah, I mean, no one knows what it is. The refs don't even know what it is. So the ball
right,
comes back. There's only like 10 seconds left, and they take a knee and go to the half. Go into the half tied. I think that's on Kyle Shanahan. They could have, if they could have at least gone up 13-10. If they got lucky, 17-10 at the half, and that's just more cushion for the second half where the Chiefs normally thrive. And
right,
I think it just goes deeper than that. When he didn't trust Jimmy G to go on a game-winning drive with a minute left, he did not trust him to go down the field and score for his team. And we're going to get into that little extra bit here. Got to take a quick momentary pause commercial break here at this point. So be right back with On and Off the Field with Dylan and Fred. Welcome back to On and Off the Field with Dylan and Fred. Just got done talking about how Kyle Shanahan didn't trust Jimmy G to go score points before the end of the first half, which might have led to why Jimmy G crumbled and couldn't succeed at the end of the game. You don't trust him at the end of the first half. Now he has to go score points under 2 minutes, game on the line in the Super Bowl. Jimmy G crumbles. Like we said before, missed Emmanuel Sanders, and then he throws the interception on a bad ball to virtually end the game. Any thoughts on that there, Fred?
Well, I mean, I think you kind of wrapped up Bill Mice right there. I mean, I I think this is where you finally seen a full season under Jimmy G, and I mean, maybe he's just a game manager. I mean, that's what any Patriots quarterback has been for the most part lately. Jacoby Brissett in the Colts is just a game manager.
Whoa.
Jimmy G, he's done it. I mean, he's done. Not all game managers are like just keeping the game going. Like, I mean, obviously they're going to have some good plays and some good games, but I mean, that's all I think of Brady. But
I was going to say, did you just call Brady a game manager?
Oh, he absolutely is.
6-time Super Bowl champ? Or is he 5? It's 6.
No, it's 6.
6-time Super Bowl champ is a game manager.
Yep, and it's because he's always had a defense.
Man, that's hot right there.
Because look at last year's Super Bowl, 9-3.
Yeah.
There's no offense.
It's true. I'm not gonna say that he's not a game manager, but I would take it a step further and call him probably one of the better game managers of all time. Yeah. I would still say he's a top 3 quarterback ever. But,
right.
I think he's had just straight up label him a game manager. But yeah, so we pretty much trashed the 49ers in the first 15-ish minutes of this podcast. How about we say some positive things about the Chiefs? How's that sound?
Yeah.
So Patrick Mahomes won the Super Bowl MVP trophy, which, you know, as tradition goes, the quarterback of the winning team gets the Super Bowl trophy or the MVP. Where I think the perfect example is back when the Seahawks lost to the Patriots, the interception at the 1-yard line.
Yep.
Malcolm Butler easily gets that MVP trophy, right?
Oh yeah.
It goes to Tom Brady. So if let's take Patrick Mahomes out of the equation, who had 2 touchdowns but 2 interceptions and basically only played 10 minutes of that game at the end. Who is your Super Bowl MVP? Or maybe you think Patrick is. What do you think?
Well, I don't think Patrick Mahomes is the MVP. I mean, he like you said, he literally played one good quarter. For me, it's Damian Williams all day. I think because he had the rushing touchdown and he had the receiving touchdown to ice the game. And they leaned more on him towards later in the game because he had 17 carries for 104 yards, which is actually really good for a running back. So I mean, I definitely picked Damian Williams. How about you?
Yeah, I was pretty surprised when Patrick Mahomes got MVP. I knew he was gonna get it.
Right.
Like I was like, okay, he's gonna get it, and then I was immediately thinking who should have got it. And I'm looking around, and I was trying to think of someone on the defense that might deserve it. And I think Rashad Breeland had a really good game. But, you know, Chris Jones had an amazing game. He ended up knocking down 2 passes at the line of scrimmage, rushed constant pressure. He had a great game. But if you're going to give it to anyone else, Damian Williams for sure. Iced the game, constant. If he touched the ball, it was a big gain. I mean, it's not like he got the ball and carried it for, 1-2 yards every time, just a crappy, throwaway play. If he touched the ball, it was a good play. He made as much out of it as every opportunity he had to get yardage, and I think easily should have been the MVP. I'm shocked.
Oh yeah, exactly. I'll say one thing about the Chiefs I was thinking about the other day. Who did they trade? They traded D Ford to the 49ers, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Frank Clark was a trade for them, wasn't he?
Yep, Frank Clark is who they picked up in the off season, I think it was, from Seattle, and they also got the guy from Terrell Suggs from the Cardinals later in the season when he hit the waiver.
Right. Okay. See, I was thinking there was a former Seattle Seahawk on there from a trade.
Yeah, Frank Clark got his ring, and it wasn't even with his team. Sadness ensues.
Oh yeah.
But Frank Clark, Every single game. Go back and watch every single Chiefs game that mattered. Like, so pretty much every postseason game, week 16, anything like that. Just skip the entire game and go to the other team's offense's last play. Go back and watch any of them. Last play, maybe second to last play at least. Frank Clark is there every time. Frank Clark will be quiet the entire game, but when it matters, the last play, he makes a play every time. Go back and watch any of the games. I guarantee you he will impact the last play of the other team's offensive game. Guarantee it.
All right.
It's just weird. He did the same thing with Seattle too, though. It's just his thing. He wants that smoke right there at the last play. I'm gonna be the guy to shut it down.
Right.
That's his mentality. And it's a great mentality to have. Like,
absolutely.
But it's unfortunate that's the only time he turns the motor on, because for the most part he was pretty quiet during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think looking at his stats here, he had 1 tackle for loss, and the only sack the Chiefs had that during the game.
Yeah, he's a great player. I miss him personally.
Yeah.
And, well, Seattle had the worst pass rush in the league, except Miami, I believe. So obviously, I'm gonna miss a guy like that when we're in the same conversation as the Dolphins. That's
right.
That's a tough time to swallow that. But Andy Reid, I cannot be happier for a human being than Andy Reid. 21 years coaching in this league, and went to a Super Bowl with the Eagles, lost in heartbreak fashion there against the Patriots. And just to see, I don't remember a time seeing Andy Reid smile so much. And just watching post-game, watching him smile and just cheer with everybody was just an amazing feeling. Like, I felt for him. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was just like – and I thought it was awesome that every player was just thinking about him. Like, they did it for him. Like, and they did it for the team and the city, and that's all great. But, like, just to get Andy Reid that Super Bowl trophy, like, now this cements him. Like, he will be – I'll say it right now. He'll be a Hall of Fame coach.
I mean, some people thought he was a Hall of Fame coach before the Super Bowl win, but now that he has it,
yeah. Now
easy
it's
peasy.
cemented.
Yeah, they already got his name on the ballot for 5 years from now. He's in. The only thing I cannot figure out is how, like, there's divisions of companies called marketing teams that pay attention to every little thing that is going on. How has McDonald's not contacted Andy Reid and been like, hey, dude, want to be in a commercial? Or like, Andy Reid is constantly talking cheeseburgers. We had a cheeseburger and went to bed after the AFC Championship game. After winning the Super Bowl, I'm going to have one of the biggest burgers, like maybe a double, like whatever. How is no one jumping on this? Yeah, like, McDonald's, let's go. Like, this is your guy.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You got marketing teams. This is your bread and butter right here. Go get them. I don't know. What are you doing? I was confused and frustrated. McDonald's, maybe Red Robin.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good one,
man. Jump on it. So Kansas City wins the Super Bowl. I cannot be more thrilled for them and the state of Kansas. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, I got bad information here. Breaking news: the Kansas City Chiefs do not play in the state of Kansas.
Gasp!
I didn't. Who knew? I mean, obviously, President Donald Trump didn't know that Kansas City is in Missouri. But he deleted his tweet and corrected himself like a gentleman. But
at least he deleted it.
He did delete it, but the screen, as soon as you put something out there, come on, man, it's 2020. People are screenshotting that 3 seconds after it hits.
Yep.
You should get impeached just for that. You don't even know where Kansas City is, you fool. Well, speaking of Donald Trump, Andy Reid cannot wait to get into the White House.
Oh, that's going to be a fun time.
Oh, gosh. I really hope he doesn't fold and, like, gives them, like, this really nice meal. Just stick to the basics, just like the college team. Bring in the fast food, baby. Let's go. Andy Reid is waiting. He's going to take, like, 20 Big Macs and just stack it.
Oh.
I'm turning pages in my notes. That's kind of like my staple for this show. It's kind of what I do is I flip pages, and everyone can hear it. I think we covered everything though. What you got something?
Oh, I was just gonna say. So I was thinking about this earlier today, and so you know how like Andy Reid will like constantly get into the NFC championships with the Eagles and just couldn't get the job done. Like he just got so close. He got to the Super Bowl with the Patriots and just fell short. What if Kyle Shanahan is the new Andy Reid?
Oh no.
Like what if Kyle Shanahan has his curse that he now has to wait 20 years to get it done? Like he's been in 2 Super Bowls and has blown leads.
I feel like
has had the talent and not been able to do it.
If he gets to a Super Bowl, if I'm Kyle Shanahan at this point, when I reach the Super Bowl, I'm handing off play calling to somebody else.
Right?
Just you can call it all regular season. You can do anything you want up until the Super Bowl. Even the first half of the Super Bowl. You can call plays in the first half of the Super Bowl. Go for it. As soon as you come out of halftime, hand that clipboard off to someone else. Because apparently you cannot handle the pressure.
And they're both offensive minded coaches. So they're so similar, and it's like, what if this is gonna happen?
Yeah, one's in better shape, but other than that, yeah, Kyle Shanahan, the next Andy Reid of really, really smart coach, but can't get it done in big games.
Mm-hmm.
You heard that hot take here first on and off the field. But I think we got everything we need to there for the Super Bowl. That's a pretty good recap. Yeah. Any commercials that really stuck out to you?
Let's see. My favorite was probably the Groundhog Day Jeep one.
Oh, that was a good one.
That was my favorite.
There's one commercial that's getting no love that me and Caitlin really liked. It was the Snickers commercial.
Oh, that was a good one.
Like, no one's talking about the Snickers commercial. I listened to a bunch of shows today. They're like, oh, this was a good one. The Cool Ranch Doritos was a good one. What about the Snickers one? That was a great commercial. We're just gonna feed the world a Snickers because this place is jacked up. I thought it was a good commercial, but all right. We're gonna come back after this next break, and we're gonna jump into a little bit off the field, NFL news. We're gonna touch on the off season just a little bit, but we are diving into, the XFL. Let's do it. And welcome back on and off the field with Dylan and Fred. Just did our Super Bowl recap. So we are pretty much officially out of the 2019-2020 season. We've done the Super Bowl recap. Everything's over. We're moving on to the off season and other fun things now. It's over and done with. But what happened on February is the NFL honors on February 1st?
Yep.
Yeah, February 1st. Calais Campbell was announced the Walter Payton Man of the Year. And if you listen to the On and Off the Field episode AFC nominees for Walter Payton Man of the Year episode, which you can go to Spotify and iTunes and all those fun places to listen to that episode. You can go and hear what he did, but I'll give you a little recap. You can learn about his foundation, the CRC Foundation, at thecrcfoundation.org. The CRC Foundation, which is named after his late father Charles, who passed away in 2003, is committed to the enhancement of the community through the teaching of critical life skills to young people through sports, creative talents, vocational skills, financial skills, and quality health and nutrition. The CRC Foundation is dedicated to developing young people into empowered and self-aware leaders for the future. That's really fun and a really good foundation. But what is really cool is Campbell's Season of Giving, which is a fundraising campaign based on Calais' on-the-field performance, pledges a specific dollar amount for several metrics. So, if the Jaguars won a game, it was $1,000. If Calais got a sack, it was $5,000. Half a sack, $2,500. Tackle for a loss, $2,000. A blocked kick or a turnover, $10,000. So, all of that money in a quarter of the season, so 4 games, they would donate it to one charity for that month, basically. So the September performances went to the Clara White Mission. Mistakes. Feeding Northeast Florida was September. The Clara White Mission was October. The Wounded Warrior Project is November, and the United Way was December. So, great stuff he did. I don't know what the totals were for this season that he gave away, but I know it wasn't a lot of wins. But he plays for the Jaguars, for those who don't know. But great guy, great foundation, great fundraising initiative, really fun one that I have not seen anyone else do anything like that. So I think that's a pretty nifty way to raise money. But speaking of the Jaguars, Fred,
yes.
There was Jaguars news today, which happens almost never. What happened?
So today the NFL announced that the Jacksonville Jaguars will be playing 2 home games in London this upcoming year. So for all you Jacksonville fans, now you have 6 home games to go to in Jacksonville instead of the usual 7. So I mean, realistically, this is probably just leading them to them moving out of Jacksonville and going to be a permanent London team. But yeah, so I think that's the big news for this today's NFL headlines, besides all the off-season talks of Tom Brady and his QB carousel. But so yeah, so
I don't think Gardner Minshew's a London guy.
No, he's a very. So I think they probably got to trade him then if they're going to go to London.
He doesn't want to go to London. I know that much. I feel like he wouldn't want to go to London.
No.
He doesn't want to be there. So hopefully the Jockstrap King will be freed of Jacksonville's clutches eventually, and he'll go and win 6 Super Bowls with another team.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be for the best.
Oh yeah. Do you remember? This is probably years ago now. Like when the NFL.com did like the NFL video shorts.
NFL.
Yeah, it was like all these what if scenarios, like what would happen.
I don't remember these.
It was Dave Damashek did it, I think, for the most part. And so the one scenario, I can't remember what the start of the scenario was, but midway through the scenario, the Jacksonville Jaguars actually moved to London and become the London Jaguars.
Whoa.
As part of an expansion.
Oh, it was an expansion, though.
Yeah.
So this would just be them moving, though. It wouldn't really be an expansion.
Well, if they moved to London, then you'd have to. You would expand. You could end up expanding into Europe, as still being the NFL. Like you'd have, because most leagues in the U.S. play with Canada and the U.S. where maybe we're going to be different than the NFL and do the U.S. and Europe or England.
So they have to change the name then from NFL to like GFL, like the National Football League, and change it to the Global Football League? Because they're also talking China too. So I mean, this is talk about extending your reach maybe a bit too far, huh?
Oh yeah.
I was just gonna say, why don't they just make more leagues in Canada, like you said? But they already got the CFL up there, so.
Right.
They probably don't want to impede on that territory. Yeah. But while we got done talking about a rookie, well, now in his second year, Gardner Minshew, there's another guy who is Is he 42 now or 41?
I believe 42.
Oof. 42 years old. And a little while ago, he posted a very, very cryptic Instagram post. Him either walking in or out of a tunnel of a football field in this ominous black and white background. And he let everyone know it is going to be part of a commercial in the Super Bowl. So he teased everybody. The commercial came on somewhere early in the game. And I just needed to say this for all my friends and family. Hulu now has sports. Like, oh. Like, you knew it was coming. Like, he wasn't just going to say he was going to retire in a commercial. Like,
No.
we knew it was going to happen. But he ends the commercial by saying, I'm not going anywhere. So, which begs the question, is he not leaving the Patriots? Or is he just not going to retire? What is your landing spot for Tom Brady?
I don't think it's going to be New England. And I think if it is New England, I think you're really going to, I would say, you're really going to piss off Bill Belichick, I think, that way. Because this was, the whole start of this was when they traded Jimmy G. Belichick wanted Jimmy G. He was going to be the successor to Tom Brady, but Kraft said no. Kraft said, we're trading Jimmy G to get picks, and Tom Brady's our future, and we're just going to keep going. So, I mean, landing spot, I don't think it's New England. I think if it is, I think it's going to be his last year for sure. I don't think there's enough supporting cast there to keep him going, even to keep him upright on that offense. I mean, they have the draft, but still. So I think landing spot wise, I think it could make sense. Would be the LA Chargers. They're opening a new stadium. I know that's the same talk with the Las Vegas Raiders with their new stadium, but I really think LA is probably a better choice for him with that defense that's out there now. I think they could be in a win now situation. Phillip Rivers probably isn't going to be there anymore. They've already agreed to part ways. So I think my choice would be LA.
That's a strong contender. That if he didn't come back to the Patriots, the Chargers would be my pick. I don't see him going to Vegas unless Tom's chasing money. I think Vegas could trade away Derek Carr and bring in Tom Brady and pay him 35 mil. I mean, they could if they wanted to, but in my opinion, it benefits nobody for Tom Brady to leave New England. The Patriots are not going to win with whoever their backup is, and they're not going to be able to draft a quarterback from their draft spot that's going to be able to take over Tom Brady's spot. They don't have a good enough team to win now without him, and Tom Brady going back to New England or leaving New England, he's just going to walk into a brand new team and win a Super Bowl? I don't think so.
No.
The best bet is them to everyone swallow their pride and come back to New England, try and build a little bit better of a team, and just go for it again. I don't see Tom Brady leaving just for a year because I don't think he's going to play 2 more years. He's an old man. You saw his decrease in production this year. I don't see him leaving New England. I really don't. Unless he just wants the money. Then, yes, I can see him leaving.
Yeah, and I think there was an interview, or I heard it the last couple of days, that Joe Montana was giving Tom Brady advice. It's after being with the team for so long with Joe Montana and the 49ers and going to Kansas City, it was definitely a real big change for him. And if Tom Brady's going to test those waters, I don't know. It's going to be definitely be interesting off season.
It's going to be a amazing off season, and we could talk about that for the rest of the time here. We could talk about Drew Brees. We could talk about Ryan Tannehill. We could talk about Derrick Henry. We can talk about anybody we wanted, but We got an entire offseason to talk
Oh,
about this stuff. We don't have another week to wait to introduce the one, the only XFL with Vince McMahon leading the. Is that right? Vince McMahon?
Yeah, Vince McMahon
leading the way.
Mm-hmm.
That was a total shot in the dark there. I'm glad I nailed it. But then I questioned myself, and I look like an idiot. I shouldn't have questioned myself. That's all right. So the XFL is back from the grave of their one season league back in 2001, I think it was, and they're ready to rock and roll with 8 teams, 10 game schedule. Who's your team, Fred? Right now, lay it down for everyone to hear. Who's your team?
Oh, I was looking at the list earlier today, and I feel like I'm going to have to go with the New York Guardians.
Just a regional thing?
No, and I wasn't trying to do it regionally because, I was just looking at how the teams, from the notes that we had here, and the one that stood out to me was Matt McGloin, who was a former Penn State quarterback. He was quarterback when I was there in college. So, to me, it was a sentimental, Penn State thing. But also just the fact that it seems like they have a decent talent team. It was either that or I think I was looking at, I want to say DC, the Defenders.
Ooh, DC Defenders. That's a good choice.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like that one would be another quarterback situation. You have Cardale Jones and Tyree Jackson, who were both former Bills. One who played in Buffalo, and then was undrafted free agent with the Bills. And they both had some highlights with the Bills, but then the Bills moved on from them. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna go with the New York Guardians.
Yeah, I mean, just to jump the gun a little bit with the DC Defenders, like you were saying, Tyree Jackson and Cardale Jones. Tyree was a beast his senior year at Buffalo. Cardale Jones bounced around the league, but he was a first round pick, wasn't he? In the NFL draft, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not.
Cardale?
Yeah, Cardale Jones.
Fourth round,
so not even close. Still a good talent though.
Right.
He was a good guy. People had a lot of belief in him, but if you look at one of their leading wide receivers, Malachi Dupree, he was drafted in the 7th round from the Green Bay Packers, bounced around a little bit, but has NFL experience. And then they also have Eli Rogers. He was with the Steelers for a little while, got good playing time there. And then they got 1st round draft pick Matt Elam at safety. I mean, it's a team with a couple of stars on it that I think they are a well-rounded out team. But my team, you already know what it is. You know. Everybody knows. Let's go Dragons. The Seattle Dragons, led by Seattle's first quarterback for their first 8 years in the league, Jim Zorn at head coach. Their quarterback, B.J. Daniels, former Seahawk. They have wide receiver Keenan Reynolds, former Seahawk. They have Kason Williams, another wide receiver, former Seahawk. And guess what? They got Will Sutton as a defensive tackle. Guess who he used to play for? He didn't play for the Seahawks, though. No, there is a couple of former Seahawks on there, which is super cool, like Seattle Dragons and the Seattle Seahawks. I just thought that was really cool. But we can get into some other teams in a moment. Let's let everybody know what the new XFL rules are. Fred, you want to lead us off? Just go with whatever rules you want. What's your favorite new rule?
So I think the one that I really want to see is this whole double forward pass. And that the rule here is that the first pass is behind the line of scrimmage, you can still throw another forward pass. I'm just curious as to how this is going to reduce the chance of fumbles or an incomplete pass. How about you?
Yeah, at first it sounded like a really good idea. It just sounds exciting on paper. A double forward pass. You can do all these cool trick plays with a double forward pass. but not really. I mean, it's put in there, like you said, to avoid fumbles and just to create incomplete passes and, just less risk factor, so you don't have to lateral it as much. And
Right.
then you don't have to worry about if you throw it all the way across the field. Well, was it a quarter yard forward? And then you got 10 minutes of replay to like see if it was maybe a forward pass.
Right.
I feel like that was the XFL's main commitment, was to make sure there's just more action. They have the five common sense rules to avoid replay time. They have an eye in the sky referee who can overrule egregious calls, and he's up there. There's no coaches challenges. It's all coming from the refs and that guy in the sky there. It creates an environment of fast-paced play, and you don't have, like the NFL right now, as soon as you think there's a catch on the sideline, oh, now we got to look at his feet for 10 minutes to make sure he was in. Oh, where was the ball? Like, oh, boy. So the five common sense rules, just really quick, that I'm guessing they based most of the rules off of: 1 foot in bounds for a catch, secure the ball, and touch the ground with any body part, and just maintain control of the ball. So it's kind of like college: 1 foot down or like an elbow. You don't need to have your toes touch the ground. So they also have a ball spotting official, where his job is to get a new ball for that play and spot it. In the NFL, you constantly see like the ball gets thrown to one ref, and then he's throwing it to another ref, and then he's got to throw it to another ref, and then he spots the ball, and then they got to move the ball. It's a mess, and it normally takes like 12 to 15 seconds just to spot the ball. So the ball spotting official, his one job is to get that ball, the new ball, and to spot it all by himself while everyone else is getting set, and it's supposed to speed up the game more. They also are allowing coach to offensive skill player communication throughout the game. I don't think they're cutting it off at 15 seconds. They're able to talk to wide receivers, running backs, and the quarterback, so it gets plays in faster. And then you get simplified illegal man downfield. So the evolution of NFL football is the run-pass option, the RPO plays. And you constantly get, if it's a run-pass option, he drops back to pass and can't get rid of the ball right away, you constantly get illegal men downfield in the NFL. Now they have a 3-yard buffer. It's less penalties. You don't have to worry about slowing down the game. And then, of course, they have the shorter halftime where it's only 10 minutes. That's generally the big 5 common sense rules they came out with, and there is a ton of other things going on. Like, do you know what the extra points are, Fred?
So I think that's going to be really interesting with the way the extra points are going to be set up, is that you either get a 1, 2, or a 3-point play, and then it's either at the 1 point play from the 2, which would be how a 2-point conversion is now in the NFL. 2 points from the 5 if they were successful, and then 3 points from the 10. I think you're going to have a lot of, weird scoring in the XFL. I think that's probably what they want, because you want something different than the NFL, and just to try to make it more exciting. And so I feel like we're going to have like these extremely weird points, like with game results.
Yeah, there's no mistake that this is a separate league from the NFL. That is for sure. There is a plethora of rules that are very different, and I can't wait for the very first overtime game personally. So when you go into overtime, both teams are going to get the ball, and they're going to alternate 5-round single possession shootouts, kind of like hockey maybe, pretty much in the same general area. But they're going to start at the 5-yard line, and they have to score. Single possession, if you get it in the end zone, you get 2 points tacked on to your overall score. After those 5 rounds, whoever has the most points wins. And if they're still tied after that, then it goes to, single rounds. Like if you score this time and the other team doesn't, now it's over. Or, kind of like that. You just keep going until one wins. I think that's a lot more exciting. It's more similar to college, but they still get 4 downs. I think it's a lot better than the current NFL overtime for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's a nice hybrid between the college and a college and a hockey shootout, because like you said with college, you're able to get 4 downs, you're able to get that, you're able to move a lot farther down the field, you have that better setup of plays. Like with this, you're at the 5-yard line and that's it. Like, so your plays are much more condensed on the field. So I think this is going to give defenses a better chance to not get burned on the corners. But I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a lot. It's kind of like almost like playing a game of horse in overtime.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a good comparison. You miss the shot. Well, now you're down a point. I guess one other rule this is just going to be weird to see. I can barely picture it in my head. It's bizarre as the kickoffs.
Yeah.
The kicker is going to kick from his own 30, which is normal. It used to be normal in the NFL. Now it's up to the 35. But in the XFL, they're going to kick from their own 30, and you have to pin it between the goal line and the 20-yard line. Basically, you say you have to because if the ball falls short of the 20-yard line, the ball's going to get placed at the 45-yard line, like the receiving team's 45-yard line. That's a massively shorter field. If the ball hits the end zone, like doesn't bounce in the end zone, if it hits in the end zone, it's coming out to the 35. If the ball bounces inbound and then into the end zone, it comes out to the 15. So that's kind of what you want to happen, and it's because that's only the 15-yard line. That's a pretty long field. But the really, really crazy part is the kicking team is going to be lining up on the opponent's, like on the return team's 35-yard line. And then the receiving team, they're going to be lining up on their own 30. So there's 5 yards of difference between the people trying to tackle the returner and the people blocking. So they can't move. The people trying to tackle, the kicking team cannot move until the returner catches the ball or the ball has been bouncing on the ground for 3 seconds, which the ref will like do a hand motion to announce when they can run if that happens. So as soon as he catches that ball, they're taken off from the 5 yards out from the blockers to try and go get this guy. I think that's going to look super weird, but I think it's going to be really cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be interesting to see how head coaches strategize with their kickers during kickoff, because they're obviously going to be aiming for that. Let's hit it at the 5 and let it roll into the end zone. So you're not telling the kicker to just go ahead and boot it as far as you can. Now you're basically playing. Now you need a good kicker who's maybe not good at field goals, but can hit a certain distance. Because if they say they hit in the 5, goes the end zone, now they're at the 15. If for some weird reason a kicker doesn't get it past the 20-yard line, it comes up to the 45. I'd be curious if that ever happens.
Yeah, I don't understand what the scenario would be where the kicker can't kick it past the 20-yard line on the other side. I don't know when that scenario is going to play out, but the rule's in there. So if it ever does happen, that's what's going to happen. And basically, between punts, there's more rules for punts. And then also with kickoffs, the initiative is to encourage more returns. They don't want fair catches. They don't want kicks going out of bounds. They want returns because they want excitement. But they also are trying to keep it safer, because now you don't have 40 yards of field to sprint down before you tackle the person. It's kind of like the same with punts. The kicking team can't release from the line of scrimmage until the ball is kicked. So they're not running downfield as soon as the ball is snapped, and next thing you know, the punt returner doesn't see somebody, and he catches the ball, doesn't call a fair catch, and he's plowed into the ground by some guy that's running 100 miles an hour at him. Oh, the returner is given more space, creating less fair catches. Also, if the ball is punted out of bounds or into the end zone, it comes out to the 35. So again, they just want returns. They want action.
Yeah, and I think they're going to get it though too, because I feel like they're going to kick off. The kickoff teams say, runners, and then the receiving team's blockers are only 5 yards apart. As soon as there's a gap and that returner hits it, they're gone. Like, there's no catching them. Like, they're going to have wide open spaces just to run to the end zone. Besides that kicker, and how many kickers have we seen tackle a returner? I mean, not a ton. I mean, I've seen some good highlights of kickers just trucking returners, but
it doesn't happen often. That's
but not often.
You get fatties like Sebastian Janikowski who like try to tackle somebody and end up hurting themselves. Yeah. So I mean that's your general XFL breakdown. Just so everybody knows, the first game I believe is the 8th, and it's going to be the Seattle Dragons at the DC Defenders for our inaugural first game of the XFL League. There's the East Division, which has the DC Defenders, has New York, St. Louis Battlehawks, and the Tampa Bay Vipers. And then the West Division has the Dallas Renegades, the Houston Roughnecks, the LA Wildcats, and the Seattle Dragons. I can't wait. I think it's going to be awesome. I hope it succeeds. I pray it succeeds. So I can't wait for the league. Any final words on the XFL, Fred?
I think I'm excited to see. I want to see it succeed. I mean, I feel like we were excited for the AAF last year, and that kind of flopped, just with it seemed like a lack of support. And I feel like this is, hopefully, it's not a one-season repeat like it was last year or the last time this was playing. But I'm just looking here at the schedule, and it actually looks like they actually have quite a few national coverage here for like TV stations. Like we have ABC, Fox, and ESPN are covering XFL. So I think that's going to definitely help get the audience they want, versus with AAF last year was, I think, solely NFL Network for the most part, or like CBS Sports Network, which not everyone has. But I think like they're definitely going to get a much broader audience, I think, with this time.
I feel like there is definitely a lot more support for the XFL than there was for the AAF. Hopefully they'll be able to, pay the players. That's a pretty important part.
Yeah.
But Fred, thank you for coming on, and thank you for being a co-host. It's official. This is Fred's first official co-host. We're going to be ordering a bunch of equipment, so we won't have to do this over Skype. He's going to be live in person. It's going to be awesome and amazing. Hopefully Amazon doesn't let me down when I order my stuff, but super exciting. Co-host, XFL, Super Bowl, NFL, football, words. Super, super exciting. Go follow On and Off the Field on Facebook and Instagram. We got the giveaway coming up. We need to get to 500 to do it. We're about 480 right now. You can listen on all the podcasting platforms out there, and you can also catch it on Thursdays from 4 to 5 on the RTF Sports Network on Spreaker. Fred, thanks again, and thank you to the listeners. And Fred, what do we say when we sign off?
All hail the Jockstrap King.